and Happy New Year, Happy 2025. This is the first video of the new year, and I come to you with just a renewed vision and desire to serve each of you in this community. Thank you so much for being here and just supporting our family, and also just sharing your heart in your, whether it's your motherhood journey or your favorite books or homeschool or whatever brought you to my channel. I am glad you're here, and I just want to say thank you, and I'm excited to spend 2025 with each of you and just, you know, talk through our goals and vision and all the bumps and also all the waves and rides that we enjoy this coming year. So in today's video, if you're new, my name's Hannah, and I am a mom of 4. 5 is due here in just a couple more weeks. And I have had a chance over the winter Christmas holiday to sit down and kind of think through my 2025 year and what that will look like and some of my own personal goals. So in this video, I'm going to share a few things for 2025, personal goals, and different things. And I would really love it if you have set in your mind some goals for yourself, if you would share some of those with me in the comments, and then we can keep each other accountable all year. Something I'm also considering doing this year is giving you guys monthly, just kind of like a little chat, just like we're hanging out at a coffee shop or having tea together, and we're just chatting and kind of updating each other on what we've been doing, what are, you know, how the yearly goals are going, what are some of our monthly goals. And so I'm going to consider this my kind of like January sit down and goal setting with each of you. So I'm going to share a little bit about my January plans. And that also includes just a few minor updates for our homeschool term, which I'll touch on at the end of this video. So if you like to, I personally love videos where I'm just kind of hanging out with some of the people that I follow and hearing their kind of like updates and how things are going for them, because that kind of helps frame my mind and what my month might look like for myself. And so if you're interested in kind of me just sharing monthly updates, January, February, March, and that's something that I can try to be consistent and accountable to each of you with as well, then please let me know. Give this video a thumbs up, because that will help me know that this is something that is of value to you, because I do want to make sure my videos are things that will support you. So I'm going to share a little bit about January and what that looks like for our family and some of our goals. But let's first dive into 2025, some personal goals that I've set for myself that I'm going to share with you, because I know that if you want to do SMART goals, then you do have to have some accountability. That's like one of the main things for success, right? And so I think that this is a perfect opportunity. I've never shared, I think, my yearly goals before, maybe in passing. So we're going to kind of dive in. I think I have like about a dozen or so. And again, I hope you'll share yours in the comments. So some of these things are personal, some of them are mother culture, some of them are just things that I want to work on for myself. And yeah, so the first thing is relevant to all of you. It is my YouTube. So I'm hoping to hit 5,000 subscribers this year. I have been connected to so many wonderful, wonderful moms. Many of you have taken the time to introduce yourselves in the comments, and I recognize your names when you come back and you give me updates. And so please do that. If you've not yet introduced yourself, I would love to know where you are tuning in from, and maybe just a little bit about yourself, so that when I see your name and I know who you are and kind of the connection that brought you to my channel, in hopes that I can be of service to you in some way. So hoping to hit 5,000 subscribers. And I'm also hoping to start a blog. Now, oh, my friends. So 2024, when I set out my intentions and goals, I had a blog put on my 2024 goal list. And so if you have set goals in the past and they did not come to fruition, just know you are not alone. That is okay. Sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. And we just need to, you know, move forward in life, because we are not in complete control of everything. With the blog though, there is content that is a longer type of form that I do know will be helpful for those that I talk to, and also to serve my family. And so it's something I need to stop dragging my feet and just do the darn thing. So hopefully you guys will keep me accountable, and I will get that blog going and stop dragging my feet over it again. So as a family, a few things that we would like to do is we'd like to take a road trip to somewhere new. We've been to many of the places in the United States, from the East Coast, DC, all the way to California and Texas, and a lot of places, our kids. But some of them we haven't either visited when they were old enough to remember, or it's been a while. When there's a lot of new places, there's endless possibilities. So somewhere new. We like to go camping again with friends. Tent camping, we went this last summer, and I was in my first trimester, so I felt like I was sick and sleepy and nauseous, so it wasn't like the ideal 10-week. When we went, I was like 10 weeks, but we still had a really good time. So we want to do that again this year. We would like to do our 1,000 hours outside. We love the 1,000 hour challenge. We have yet to complete it, but this past year, we were like right on target. We were doing so good. However, we took a 2-week vacation in July, and I forgot to be updating my phone app. And so I got finished with our vacation, and I was like, oh shoot, I totally forgot how many hours every day, and I could probably have estimated it, but I threw in the towel. So the tricky point is actually summer when you go on vacations. And I can remember to track on vacations, that I know I can track the 1,000 years. So if you have a mobile life, I'm sure that tracking those kind of things is just more difficult than if we're home most of the time. So that is something we want to do. I like to have a single date with each of my kids. The boys, I've never done that before, like just each of them. The girls I have. We do that for their birthday. And so I like to include the boys some one-on-one time, especially because we are welcoming baby number 5. They're 6, and my 2-year-old will be 3 this month. And so I thought it'd be fun to include them in one of those one-on-one single dates. I'd also like to take my girls to an art museum. So we have been doing the Charlotte Mason method for, I think, 4 years now, and give or take. And so we have actually studied a lot of artists, and they're probably familiar with quite a few names and pictures, since we do study a new artist basically every term. And so I think it's time. I think it would be a lot of fun. They're 11 and 9, so I think culturally it would be a great experience for them. I went to the Chicago Art Museum when I was in college. It was for an art class. So I think I will actually go with renewed interest, because when I went to the Chicago Art Museum as a college student, I was going there specifically looking for artwork to write a paper on. Wow, the method of education is just horrible in our system, because I went there with like a duty, right? I didn't go there just for the joy of going to an art museum, just to experience that and the ideas that could have been presented to me. I went to do work. And so I don't want that to be their experience. I'm not going to make them write a paper or anything like that, but I do want to take them to an art museum, and that is on my list as well. Okay, some more personal things, but these are more what I would consider like mother culture. I don't like to use the word self-care. It can be like taken the wrong way, but I do believe that as a mom, we can care for ourselves and as an individual, as a person, as Charlotte Mason says. And so whether that looks like handicrafts or caring for ourselves physically and emotionally, I think all of that is relevant and important as moms, and we can teach our children to do that for themselves as well. So a couple things that I want to do. So I would like to do a half marathon this fall. I've run one marathon back in 2016, way back, and a half marathon a couple years ago between 2 kids. The reason I just like running, and I know it's not everybody's thing, and I do try to do weight training, but I've kind of had fallen off the track the last few months. Just some precautions with this pregnancy. Honestly, just really hard. This pregnancy, this fifth baby, it has been really hard for me to get up at like my 5 a.m., 6, between like 5 a.m. and 6. And so most days, if I'm honest, the last 3 or 4 months, most days I do not get up before 6:30 a.m. And if you're a busy homeschool mom, you know that's not the greatest, because I usually would work out earlier than that. And so that's just been a real challenge for me. And so I know signing up for something will just get my butt out the door in the mornings, but it also encouraged me just to get back to the gym as well, because strength training is a big part of that. So, because I kind of do like a hybrid. I don't really run for speed. I run because I love to be outdoors, and I love the feeling of the endorphins that you get from running. And so I don't run as much as probably most runners. I do more strength training and run. So that is, and then along with that, I would like to get to my healthy weight. I have just what is a comfortable weight for me that's been the same for the last dozen years of motherhood. And I haven't been that in over a year and a half, because if you're familiar with my journey, I had a miscarriage 13 and a half weeks last Thanksgiving. And so that was a really hard time for me emotionally. I actually took a pretty long sabbatical off of YouTube because of it. And then I got pregnant again very early on in the year. And so physically and emotionally, I'm ready for a break. I'm ready for just caring for myself and getting that kind of under control. I know what to do. I told a friend the other day, I feel like I've been pregnant for a year and a half, even though I haven't been, because of that miscarriage. And so I am ready to focus on my needs. And so that will be a part of my monthly check-ins. If we do that, I will be sharing my health journey and physical journey and what that looks like. So if that is something of interest and accountability that you want, that is something I'll be sharing updates on all of these. That's what I'm considering doing if these monthly updates will be of interest to you. So those two things, I want to read through the Bible. I want to read 50 books. So this was one of my 2024 goals. I got 44. And if you followed any of my reading reviews, then you're aware of that I was so close, but I kind of fell off the wagon, and I still owe you guys a winter review. It's going to be very short because I didn't get many more books read October, November, and December. But I will get that to you. And so I'm going to go for 50 books again. I know now that a bulk of those books are going to happen in the summer. So I'm going to keep that in mind and make sure I can get like 25 done in the summer when I'm in break and can just enjoy more of that quiet reading time. Okay, so 2 other things that I want to do for my mother culture, and then I'll share a few highlights all specific to the month of January. The first one is I am a part-time piano teacher. I've been playing piano since I was a girl and been teaching since I was 18. However, something that I have not done since I was in college, which was like 13, 14 years ago, is be part of a recital, a personal recital for myself. And so I would like to plan one of those with my brother and sister who are here locally as well. I think it would be a really good discipline for us, just a lighthearted evening or afternoon of music, things that we enjoy. We've talked and tossed this idea around for some time, but it's also just a great cultural experience for our friends and our family to provide some free classical music that they can enjoy as well, and our students. And so, but it does require time and commitment for me to practice and commit to something like this. Even though I teach, it is another element to discipline the amount of practice that is required to put on a recital. But I think it would be really good, even with a newborn, it would be really good for me to require this of myself. And so we shall see how that goes, even if it's just 3 or 4 pieces. Maybe you have some sort of skill or something that you have, and that you know that creating some kind of commitment and timeline is helpful for pushing yourself to excellence. And so that's kind of where my mind is with that. And I think that would be, it could be really many things. It could be writing curriculums, it could be just reading, it could be serving others, serving the church, whatever it looks like. But I think sometimes we have to push ourselves just a little bit out of our comfort zone. And so that's what that looks like for me. And then the second other thing for mother culture is a temperature blanket. So how many of you guys crochet? I actually learned to crochet just a year ago. It was our homeschool co-op. It was our handicraft that the kids learned. And so I wanted to learn alongside my girls. So we learned to crochet last winter, and I've played around with a few different blankets, and I made a little animal, just a few tiny little projects, but never really committed to a full project before. My sister, maybe some of you follow her, I'll put her YouTube link down below, Valerie Henderson, the Henderson House, but she finished a temperature blanket and it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And so I would like to take on the task of trying to crochet a temperature blanket. My sister thinks it's definitely manageable. It's a good beginner project because I could just do literally a single crochet. And if I get behind, I just do rows of single crochet. So it's nothing complicated in terms of pattern. It's just a time and a commitment to being consistent to that the whole year. So she inspired me to do that. And so I put that on my 2025 list. I'm waiting for the yarn to go on sale at Hobby Lobby this coming week, and I'm going to get all my colors and hopefully report back in February with 30 days or so of temperature. So we'll see. We will see how that goes. All right, so now I want to pivot and talk a little bit about January. So those were kind of my overall yearly goals. And in January, the biggest thing on my mind right now, obviously besides term 2, is the baby. The baby is coming in 6 weeks, give or take a couple days. My kids have either come right on time or just a few days early. So it should be around the due date, but you know, babies are not predictable. They will come when they are ready. And also hoping to have another home birth. All my kids have been born at home, and so Lord willing, we will be able to do that again with this baby too. And so there's some things I need to just prepare in the home for that. So in January, babies due February 20th. So in January, I will be tackling some baby to-do lists like prep food, freezer meals. Because I'm giving birth at home, I need to get my birthing kit together, make sure any sort of, decluttering, organizing, even some deep cleaning that I just like to get done, totally in that nesting stage over the holiday break. And so I'm going to kind of propel that feeling that I'm having into January. And so I have a list of things to tackle there. I'm sure I'll do a day in the life, bring you alongside me as well. And we're thinking that hopefully we'll be around week 6 in our term. We shall see, but around week 6, week 7, if baby comes on time for a sabbatical. But we'll just take a week off when baby comes. And if the baby is like my other babies, then we may only need a couple days off because my girls are pretty independent. They can do almost everything. I'm going to share a tool that we're going to use that's going to help us also kind of propel us forward with the baby. And honestly, I don't know how many of you guys would agree with me on this, but I think newborns are way easier than toddlers. So I'm actually not concerned about the newborn really putting any sort of hiccup. Lord, unless there's complications for our term. It's next year when we have a mobile baby. That's going to be a whole nother thing, right? Give me, how many of you guys could agree and attest to that? So baby will be coming, and yeah, we'll probably take a little sabbatical and then get right back to our term. That is my plan. Also going to finish the volume 2 of Charlotte Mason, so Parents and Children. I'm super close to being finished. In fact, I was going to share a quote with you guys as you're moving forward in your school year or just being a mom and your atmosphere in your home. One of Charlotte Mason's, I feel like, most famous quotes is from Parents and Children, page 247, but she summarizes the function of education. And I'm going to read it to you. And I feel like this really helped me kind of set my mind towards our term and the year, and just a reminder that these are the things that are so important. So if you're familiar with Charlotte Mason, you've probably heard this, but education is a discipline. That is the discipline of the good habits in which the child is trained. So keeping that in my central focus. Education is a life nourished upon ideas And education is an atmosphere. That is, the child breathes the atmosphere emanating from his parents, that of the ideas which rule their own lives. And of course, she's speaking to parents in her volume 2. And so just keeping that in mind, that my kids are really, in many ways, a reflection of my own attitude and atmosphere in the home. So I want to keep that idea central and focus, finish up volume 2, and move on to Charlotte Mason's volume 3. So that's one of my January goals. Also, before we touch on term 2 and just a few things that I'm going to incorporate, I just wanted to share a few thoughts that I had on how I kind of propelled myself forward through the winter slump. How to just kind of like work through that. And I think that part of it is if we're trying to force ourselves through a false sense of energy, then we're gonna fail, because winter is really physically a time to slow down, especially if you are in any way in the Midwest or Northern Hemisphere. Then this is a time of less sunshine and longer, slower days. And so I think one of the primary ways that we can get through our winter slump is to just lean into the slow season and embrace the slow season instead of fighting that season, right? I think that's really, really important. So some things that are very helpful to embrace this slower season so that we don't feel like we're actually in a slump, but this is just part of the rhythm of nature, right, that God has designed. So getting some sunshine. So if the sun is out, which it's not always out, but if it is, bundle yourself up with your kids and go sit outside or take a short walk, but get in the sunshine whenever possible. And take vitamin D. If you don't get any sun, like there's been some days like today there was hardly any sunshine, then take vitamin D. That has been something for years that has helped so much. It completely can fix and support your mood. If you are not getting in that sunshine, just supplement that day and get some vitamin D. Your afternoon school. So, in the spring and in the summer, we have a lot of energy. The sun's out. We're ready to like get school done, get outside, play, and enjoy the sunshine. Absolutely, right? But because that's literally does not happen in the winter, there's really no reason for us to be rushing our mornings. And so a lot of times that's when the sun is out. And so just take your time through your morning, and you will have time in the afternoon to do school. Like there's nothing wrong with doing afternoon school. And so in the winter, it gets dark by 4 o'clock. And so we're going to start getting more and more daylight. Yes. But don't be afraid to have afternoon school. Maybe if you need to shift your morning time to afternoon time, just so that you don't feel like you're having to push through a day that doesn't want to go. I think that's a really good thing that can help you. Play games, break up your day with like some hot cocoa or tea with a read aloud. Those things have really helped us. Think of this season and compare it to spring and summer, which are coming. We have just a totally different mindset when it comes to spring and summer. And so I think rather than fight the winter slump, I think the winter slump is only in our mind because we're trying to fight against nature, which affects our physical and our emotional and spiritual being. So it is just important for us to embrace it and take it slow, and it's fine. And enjoy these days that we're stuck inside and embrace the blessings that come with that, whether it's more handicraft time or more reading time. Like, listen, right, ladies, when it becomes April and May, we are not going to want to spend an hour practicing our crochet or our knitting in the summer. We're going to want to be outside at the beach or something. So I think that this could be a great chance for us to slow down and embrace the winter, and that will help us get through any sort of February homeschool slumps or things that might come our way. That is kind of my January goals and list. And so now I just want to talk a little bit about term 2 in our homeschool and what that's going to look like. So not too much is changing. The only things that are really changing for us when I was working through doing this during the winter, during Christmas break, kind of going through it, We still are really following everything we did term 1, Ambleside, with some Simply Charlotte Mason for our family studies. Our new picture study will be Van Eyck. So of course that's changing. The composer study, poetry study, all of that will be following some AO, folk songs, hymns, of course, all of that changes, but we're following AO, Ambleside Online, and so you guys are probably pretty familiar with that. I think I gave my term 2 review and kind of what went well and what didn't, all of the books, and so I was able to make a few shifts into our schedule. The only thing that's going to really change on our timetable is we do not have, so we have a Charlotte Mason co-op, but it meets every other Wednesday, and it's a fall term and a spring term. So it's only 6 weeks, which is just perfect, literally perfect for us and our family, and apparently the other families as well. So we are not doing a winter term, and so we don't have co-op on Wednesdays. So we have nothing on Wednesdays. And the girls know this, we've talked about it. So we're going to do a regular Wednesday schedule, which is so bizarre, right? Because we haven't done that. And we didn't do that all the last term. So because of that, our term might only be 11 weeks. We'll see what happens, just because we do have that extra day. But what I did is I still planned it for 12 weeks, and I just made the readings a little bit shorter. And so we'll just use Wednesday for any readings that basically I could split into 2. And so we'll see how that looks. So we're still planning for 12 weeks. And if the girls just end up reading more of their books and we get done early, I told them we'll just take their exams week 12, week 11, week 12, and we'll call it a day. So they're in year 5 and year 3 of Ambleside Online. Most of their books are going to be staying the same. They have a few literature and history books that will be changing, and especially my oldest daughter, she'll be reading different biographies, and what that'll look like. One thing that we got new for Christmas for the kids that I knew I would be using for my homeschool was a Yoto Player. So maybe you're familiar with Yoto Players. I have been kind of tossing the idea around for a while, and we ended up getting a mini Yoto for my oldest daughter, and then we got a full-size Yoto for the boys, but I knew we would also use it in our homeschool. So it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And so the idea was to have some things that are already ready to go on cards that we either use AO for, or we use like YouTube for, or sometimes the MP3s are just on my laptop that we use as well. And so I have created some cards. I'll show you which ones we're using for our term, and I think that that's going to help us. I especially think it will also help my oldest 2, so that when the baby comes, if I can't do as much reading out loud, they can just use the Yoto and utilize that as like an audiobook. So I think it's going to be really helpful. Some of the ones that I did, so I saw this idea on a Facebook group to get these little like cards, and then you just print them out, since these are the make your own cards, and you can just refill them with the different books that you need each term, so that you don't have to like, buy cards for every single term. So a few of these are actually for my youngest, but we got the Blue Fairy book. So this is Just So Stories. And then I did make a card for our hymns, our folk songs, and also our AO composers. So the hymns and the folk songs, we were using just the YouTube playlist that Ambleside provides. However, the commercials are always annoying. You turn on the video and there's like a commercial, and also got to make sure my laptop's charged and like bring it up, and it's just the whole thing. So this is going to be, I think, much more convenient, because we can literally just stick the card in, and it's our hymns. And then same for the composers. And then I did one for our folk songs as well. So really excited about those. And then I'll have previous playlists from other years that will just make it easy. So another one that actually a friend gave me an idea to do. It was such a genius idea. But the Spanish with Francois and Miss Mason, we have the MP3s from purchasing the curriculum. And so putting those on a card, because that's another thing that I have to bring up my laptop for. And so just not having to deal with that, but able to just stick it in and then refer to the playlist of which one I need for which lesson. I think that's also going to make it a lot easier for doing review. So then a couple of the books that I read aloud to my daughters are This Country of Ours. So I made one for that, and then Our Island Story. And This Country of Yours specifically is very long-winded sometimes, can be 15 to 20 minutes for me to read, or longer, out loud. So this I think will become really helpful, especially when that baby comes too. So these are like our family cards that we will be using, I think, pretty much every single day. And then also my oldest daughter, for her list, there were a few that we made cards for her. So like, for example, Age of Fable. Age of Fable, we were already using the LibriVox recordings for Age of Fable just because of all the Greek mythology names. I just found that one easier for us to listen to. So she has a card for Age of Fable. Oliver Twist. I read Oliver Twist. I pre-read it last year. That is a very long book, and I think it's also definitely a stretch for her in terms of literature. And so that one, I found a LibriVox recording that I liked the audio for, because there's a lot of free Oliver Twist out there. But this one is by like a British lady, and it sounds like it's going to be a really good read aloud for her. So I made Oliver Twist card for her. She also has Madame How and Why, but I don't know if we're going to use that card. We'll see, just because it's such a short book, so we don't really have a trouble reading that one either. And then, of course, This Country of Ours. Everything else she's still going to be reading to herself just from her book. Okay, and then in terms of Yoto for my year 3, the only books we'll probably really be doing are This Country of Ours, Our Island Story, which are ones I read out loud to her anyway. I have Tall Tales, The Heroes, Children of the New Forest, but I don't know if we'll listen to them. She doesn't mind reading. Her comprehension and her narration's really good. I know every child is different. I think some do better audio-wise. So I think I'm just going to kind of leave it up to her. Children of the New Forest might be, it's a lot of chapters per week, so she may decide that she would like to try to listen to that one. So we'll see. So that is how we're going to use the Yoto. And of course, my kindergartner, we just do reading lessons, his math, which he loves, and we read a book together. I did not end up pushing him into year 1 like I originally thought, which I talked about in my other term. So those are kind of the updates. I'm really excited for the Yoto. I think that is going to just basically be one of those things that streamline your experience. And if you can, reduce time in the little things throughout your day, in your homeschool day, that can have such a huge impact on the full thing of the day. Like derailing you in the morning, it might be just like, where's the charger for the laptop? So then you can get your Spanish up and running. And then the next thing I know, it's been 15 minutes to get my laptop going and bring up the Spanish. Kids have kind of got derailed a little bit. And so I think the Yoto is going to remove a lot of that. I did get the permanent charger that they can just put it on in the evenings, the boys, so in their room. So it should be always charged and ready to go for school when we need it. And so we'll see how that goes. I will keep you guys updated and my reviews. I know some of you guys asked, and we'll just see how it goes. So that is my 2025 and January highlight and term 2 update. I know it was a longer video, but there was just so much ground and things that I wanted to share with all of you. And so I hope you'll share with me some of your goals for the new year and just where you guys are at. Did you start school already? Are you in term 2? You're probably halfway through, because we took December completely off, which was a good decision. In retrospect, we needed that as a family. It's not every year that you need that, but sometimes you do. So that is my update. I'm sure more will be coming forth, and then I will probably, do this in February if you guys say that you like to have these kind of check-ins. So we'll do that. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I will see you guys next time. Bye.